All right, let's just get right into it. We need to have a talk about our complicated and, let's be honest, often broken relationship with taking time off. I mean, why is something as basic as a vacation so incredibly hard for so many of us?
Just look at this number, 765 million. Let that sink in for a second. That's not some abstract government budget. That is the number of paid vacation days that Americans just left on the table last year. An entire ocean of unused time. What does a number like that even say about us?
So let's start with where this really hits home for all of us. You know that feeling, right, of being completely fried, knowing you desperately need a break, but feeling like you just can't possibly step away. It feels like a personal failure, doesn't it? But it's not. It's a symptom of a much, much bigger crisis. And this right here, this reframes everything. Burnout isn't you being weak or unable to handle your job. The World Health Organization is super clear on this. They call it an occupational phenomenon. In other words, it's a condition created by your work environment, not by you.
So what's causing it? Well, the research points to things that are almost completely out of an individual's control. A workload that's just too big for the hours in a day. Not having the tools you need to succeed. The wider economic pressures we're all feeling. These are system-level problems, not personal ones.
Okay, so if the problem is systemic, let's zoom the camera out. Because it turns out this isn't just happening in your company, or even in your industry. It's happening at a national level. And when you look at the rest of the world, the United States is a massive outlier. Get ready for this. Every single worker in the entire European Union is legally guaranteed 4 weeks of paid vacation. Not as a perk for a senior-level job, not something you have to earn after a decade of service. It's a fundamental right, from day one. And this slide just lays it out so starkly, it's kind of shocking. On one side, you have pretty much every other wealthy country in the world, France, Spain, Australia, Japan, where weeks of paid leave are the law. And on the other side, the United States, a big, fat zero. We are the only advanced economy in the world with no federal law requiring any paid time off at all. So we've established the problem, and it's a big one, but let's talk about the solution, because the science on this is crystal clear. Taking time off isn't just, a nice little luxury. It's a biological and psychological necessity. You can think of it like a prescription for your health. So the key to all of this, the secret ingredient, is this term right here, psychological detachment. It sounds a little academic, but all it really means is genuinely unplugging your brain from work. It's not enough to just be out of the office. True recovery means you have to get your mind to stop spinning on work-related stuff.
And when you actually manage to do that, when you truly detach, look at this. A whole cascade of amazing things starts to happen. It lowers your stress, which lowers your risk of heart disease. It improves your mood. It boosts your sleep quality. You actually become more motivated and creative. It is a literal healing process for your mind and your body.
And if you're still not convinced, this quote from a major study says it all. If you're checking your email on the beach, you're basically canceling out the benefits. You're getting almost zero restorative effect. You've had a change of scenery? Sure, but you haven't had a real psychological reset.
Now, the amazing part is that these benefits really stick around. One study found that the improvements in mood and sleep were still measurable 5 weeks after people got back home. So this isn't some quick sugar high. It is a long-term investment in your health and well-being.
Which, of course, leads us to the central mystery of this whole thing, the PTO Paradox. Even when Americans do have paid time off available to them, we often don't take it. So the big question is, why? Well, the data tells a story of pressure and a whole lot of fear. The number one reason people don't use their vacation days is that their workload is just too heavy. They are absolutely terrified of the mountain of work they'll come back to. Then there's guilt, pressure, and the worry that nobody can cover for them.
And what about all those trendy solutions like unlimited PTO? Sounds great in theory, right? Well, it turns out it can be a total trap. Research shows that without a specific number of days to use or lose, the unspoken social pressure to just keep working often means people take even less time off than they did before. It's wild.
This all points to this massive disconnect between what the policy says and what the culture actually is. A company can offer all the PTO in the world, but if the bosses are sending emails from their vacations, the real message is loud and clear. Rest isn't actually valued here.
So how do we actually fix this? It's not about just tweaking a line in the employee handbook. It's about fundamentally changing how we think about the value of rest itself. It's about building an entire culture around it.
Because at its very core, this is a culture problem.
The only real solution is for organizations to make rest a protected and visible value. That means having leaders who actually disconnect, teams who build real plans to cover for each other, and a shared understanding that high performance requires recovery. And that leaves us with a really big question, one that goes way beyond the workplace. For ourselves and for our society, we have to decide, is time off to rest and recover a perk that has to be earned, or is it a basic human right that every single one of us is owed?